Okay, I'm sorry. This is my first video ever. It is early in the morning. Boy, you guys look close. I don't have any fancy equipment, but small beginnings come from small steps. And thanks to major encouragement from Rita and at Rita's Roost, she's gotten me to this point. I know it's early in the morning, nobody's probably around, but I couldn't sleep. So I thought I would sit here and putter around on some gnomes for a little bit. See if anybody's up. At least I can test out what I'm doing here. Don't have any fancy equipment, just me. Hopefully somebody will pop up. I have to learn all of this stuff. I kind of did it a little bit backwards. I was encouraged to go do a live, and I found out I needed 50 viewers before I could do my first live, and I had some help with that. And there I was rolling. So then I had to come up with a name. And I want to give a big shout out for Mona for her encouragement. She won the prize from Miss Rita's for when we hit 50 viewers a couple weeks ago. And then send it to me as encouragement, and I'll do a video on that at some point. But I just figured I needed to start somewhere since I couldn't sleep this morning. I figured, I don't know if anybody's up. I'm trying to figure out what is this? Filters, comments, share, oops, I did that on the wrong, anyway, I can't see comments. I'm not sure how you do that. See how new I am to this? Probably why it's happening at 4:50 in the morning, and it may not stay up, because I'm just testing things out. Oh my gosh. And I don't know how long I'll last. We'll see. I think. Oh, yeah, there I am. Share. There we go. And I have to figure out how to see any comments. There we go. Alright. I guess maybe if I go over here and turn this on, I can see the chat. It's always kind of, I guess, a delay. Let me put my earpiece in or get my preacher's voice on, because a lot of people say they can't hear me because I get soft-spoken, which is funny because a lot of my friends say I'm too loud. Maybe this will help. Oh, it looks like I have one. Is this working? It looks like I have one person in the, well, one mic or one person. I'll say good morning to whoever's in the house. That way I can, somebody's here, because I have a dot with a 1, but I'm not sure how to read the chat yet. How bad is this? Okay, first things first is, I have a new one of these, but the little rubber piece came off of here. So I'm going to fix it, and then I'm going to work on some beards, and excuse the construction in my nook. Get it rearranged on Sunday so it looked better and had more room, but I haven't gotten all the fine tuning done on it. Okay. So working on that there. Now, to fix this, see, this rubber thing helps to the glue to come out better. And to fix it, when it's warm, so you just have to be careful. This one's probably about 4 years old, and I just have to take the screw off and tuck it back in its puka. And it just makes it easier to work with. So we'll do that real quick, and then I'll get to cut and show you how I cut some of my gnome beards, and then we'll go from there. I kind of try and do prep. So I'll cut my beards, and I'll make my braids. I'll make my nose. Do like a big construction. So I'm really kind of just puttering and figuring out some of this YouTube stuff while I do this. So it's probably not going to be the most beautiful first attempt here. So it may not even last long, but at least there'll be a video up. And that way it's a start. I've been thinking about doing this for a couple years and kept finding reasons. Well, some of them valid, some of them just me to delay. And, God found a way to get it up and going. But like I said, I do have a new one of these, but it works real good. It's just this little rubber piece comes out from this little grippy thing, and the only time you can fix it is warm. And I'm sure that this is boring, but at least y'all keeping me company while I work on this. Find this little tiny flathead. Why is it when you're looking for little tiny flathead, you find everything but? There we go. So I just pried this apart a little bit, don't want to take it apart too much. And I tuck her back in because she's warm and she's pliable. And she'll stay in for a while. I hear some pinging, so maybe I got some messaging. I'll have to look at that when I get my hand free here. So just tuck that back in, and then it holds it, and then you don't get as many stringers. And that screw came out. Um, Otherwise, it's always slipping off. And the unfortunate thing is you can't do this while it's cold. Unless I take the whole thing apart. It's just easier when it's pliable. If it's going to behave itself and do its thing this morning. I like the ones that have two. I'm going to check because I heard some pinging, so I may have a good morning. Hopefully it isn't no stalkers or anything. Alright, see that? See, she's all tucked in again. And that's just a little rubber guard that helps it flow better. And then I just tighten these screws back down. Maybe one of them had to, both of y'all fall out. Oops, that's not good. I think I lost the screw, which I don't usually do, but that's alright. I'll find it in a little bit. I got this to hold it down. Alright, let me check. Oh, I think somebody was there and then somebody popped out. I hear some pinging. I was trying to. I don't see chat. This is live chat. Okay. Anyway. See, I'm just trying to figure this out. It says live chat. Messages. Okay, it doesn't. Oh, I turned the volume down on this so that I could have the volume on that. Don't need to hear myself. And it looks like I have somebody in the house. I wish I was just trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. There we go. Now, I dropped the screw. I have a glue gun, but at least the rubber bit's in there for now, and it'll show up. I'm gonna turn it off for now. Just gonna work on some beards and noses. You know, you can make these one by one, and I use knit gloves like I get at Joann's or someplace like that. When they're on sale. But I have found for me, when I make my little gnomes, that the longest taking part is making the noses, making the beards, getting the beards prepped, and braiding the hair. And if you get that done, then you can lay out, a dozen, 6 girls, 6 boys, whatever, and then you can just start putting them together pretty quickly instead of going by one by one. And I'll show you my noses. This is my box of noses. Oops. And I work on making these, like if I'm sitting in a waiting room or whatever. I have a little kit here that I have put together, and I can show you real quick how to make a nice gnome nose before I do the boring part of cutting some beards. I think somebody's watching, but I haven't seen any chat. Maybe they're just listening to me stumble around. So the noses will all be unique. They'll be all different shapes, just depending on how they come out. And they're simple to make. you get these little 12 millimeter pom-pom balls like this. You can get a whole bag of them. Get the beard hair out of there. You get these stockings at the dollar. I'll get them at the dollar store. And they're just little footies like this. So you get 3 footies like that. And see, this is what's left of 1 footy, and I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. I got 11 noses in here. And then I get these little clear rubber bands from the hair section, and I take this and I simply wrap it around the pom-pom like this, and you try not to, you try and get as many as you can. I probably have got more than 11 out of this one stocking. But I've been working on it here and there. Sometimes it depends on how, my doctor came in pretty quick yesterday, so I only got 2 noses done. But you just take it like that, and then you take your little rubber band, and you just wrap it around. Let it go, shouldn't do that. So you just hold it, and you wrap it a few times. And you won't see that when you get it on the actual gnome. But the whole process makes each gnome unique. Some will be bigger, some will be smaller, some will be dimpled. But you wrap it around a few times just to hold the stocking on. That should be about good, I think. Make sure it's tight, as tight as you can up here. And usually I do that. But see, there you go. There's a gnome nose. And I don't know. I'm trying to figure out my lighting so you can see things but there's a gnome nose. And it kind of looks, because the stocking's over it, and then I just cut it off like that. And then I just trim it down a little bit, because it'll be tucked under and glued on. And if it's a little tight, you can loosen this a little bit. That rubber band's just to hold it. So now there's a dozen noses. And I got this little container. I have a yo-yo kit and I have a nose kit. Because they're easy to do when you're waiting someplace. And then you'll eventually get down to a place. I think I could probably get one more out of this, and then it's done. And then you start with a new stocking. But I have a little container here that has different rubber bands. For the gnome noses, I prefer clear. But I have some of these heavier duty that they use for horse braids that you can get at the farmer's store. Don't think that one will fit a gnome. My nose, let me check it. I still don't see any chat, so I was by myself, which is fine. And eventually I'll do a whole tutorial with all the steps in one. So see, this piece isn't big enough. But they make, these little footy stockings make a pretty good amount of gnome noses, because they're made for feet, so they stretch out. And typically all I do is I cut down the side here, and then I cut this top lip off, and then you just make as many noses as you can out of it, out of the piece. Some people leave it on, I suppose, but I'm not going to use this anyway, so I'll just prep it this way. And then I can go on and make the next nose. And so right now, I'm ready to make a dozen gnomes. And I have plenty of beards, but there's a couple I wanted to cut. A couple more I wanted to cut to get off my table, and then I got to do some braiding of. It took me like a couple weeks to figure out how to make the females braids, because you don't want just male gnomes. See, this little tiny piece will probably do 2 more. That's what I say about checking it to make sure you don't waste any, because it doesn't take very much. You just want to get it down over it like that. And I usually try and have about 20 noses ready. And like I said, this is an art bin 6x6, so, and it has everything in it that I need. And so I can just easily pop it in a bag and have it with me if I end up having to sit. In fact, the other day I think I made 6 waiting for my doctor's appointment. And then I could just keep the scraps that go. Oops, I think I break the rubber band on that. Nope. Just let it go. I think that's a song. So what I'm doing is I'm just pushing this up, the rubber band, as close bunched up together as I can. And like I said, that rubber band will stay. I'll just trim this close, and then when I get to the point of showing y'all how I put one of them all together, we'll do that. So see, then I'll just trim it close, because this is gonna have to be trimmed away up to the rubber band, so it tucks under good. And I used to just leave it on until I was ready to work on them, but if I do it now, then that's one less step. But you see how each nose is unique, and so you never know what your gnome's gonna look like, because you can have look at how fat that nose is compared to that nose, and like this one's like more round. Some of these need to be trimmed, but see how easy that is to do. So I'll put that away. Get back to what I was going to work on. Getting this fur trimmed. So see, I put all my little bits in the bottom of my box. See, a lot of times I have a little Ziploc like this to put them in to make it easy. But when I don't, I just drop them in the bottom of the box, and then the next time I'm home, I'll clean out the scraps out of the bottom of the box, and that way they aren't floating around if I'm at the doctor's or where I am doing them. They're all neat, contained. Alright, that goes back in there. So that's just see how quick it is to make a gnome nose. And it looks kind of cool because the white is covered up. Those little white balls are covered up by this little brown mesh, so it kind of looks like an actual little boopy nose. Because the gnomes we're making are only about that wee big. So like here's a gnome, some samples of gnome bodies. That's how big so they can be little. Oops, see that? So these are bodies, different colors, different shapes, and these are knit gloves. So then say I want to make a gnome out of this, I'll have my nose, and I'll get my hat on. You know, you put the beard on first, I'll put my little hat on, and then pick a nose, you know, get it settled, cleaned up, pick a nose, and I usually find a bead or something to embellish it, and there you have a gnome. So that's and so that's why I say each gnome is very unique because like look at how fat this dude is. And I have several colors hats. I like these kind of fuzzy multicolor for hats. Um, and I usually wait and get them for, buy one, get one. And I get, these two usually have like a different color fingertip. So I get about six, six gnomes out of a pair of gloves. Because I don't really like how those little white tips look. Uh, so, I have collected scraps of faux fur. And for a gnome beard, you just need about a 1.5 by 1 inch, 1.5 by 1.5 inch square. You don't need a huge piece. That part. So, what I typically do is cut patches like this, and then I can trim them. So when I have so I'll grab, say I'm making a male gnome, I'll grab a body, say like this, usually this might be a girl, but so the beard will go on, the nose will go on, the hat will go on, and then you put the decoration. Or you put the braids on, put the nose on, put the hat on, and it tucks over the nose. So, but this takes quite a bit of time to cut these. So instead of cutting one and making one, I get all my little pieces, parts together, and then I just line them up, and then they all get their little unique character. And I have to get a new bin because my bin's now overflowing. Because what I've done is I've found remnants so that I have a whole choice of colors. So every gnome will be unique because it'll just depend on my mood that day. I've added some new ones. I want to try and do some in this green. I've added some pink. I added some of this wild stuff here. I love the rust color because it looks so natural. And since it doesn't take a lot, you can, Hobby Lobby has strips. And they're in a bag in here, but they have strips, and they're not very expensive of faux fur. And they'll make a lot of beards. That's where the mint one came from. Joann's has rolls, but typically, I just wait until it's on sale. Like, I go to the remnant bin, I see faux fur, I grab faux fur, and I get, like the other day, I got a almost $37 piece of faux fur for $2.50 because the faux fur was 40% off, and then it was 50% off. And like this was a keychain ball. I didn't have any this color or this color, and this was a keychain ball. And I just carefully snipped it open, and I'll get several beards out of something like that. But I will tell you, there are two different kinds of fur. There's this that has the stiff back that's easy to work with when you're making gnomes. And then there's this, which I love this color. And sometimes you can't tell when you're getting it, that has the flimsy back. It's a little more difficult to get it to glue down in place, but it gives a different feel to the gnome. So I still use it, and some people said I could put interfacing on it, but I don't have very many like that anymore because I found that I like these strips. So this came off a yardage that I got out of clearance, and it has black and silver. And so I just cut a strip I just cut a strip down. Wonder if this is my, because like, okay, so here you go. This is the kind you get at Hobby Lobby, and it's like $3, and it's this whole piece. And you can get lots of different colors, and if you cut it right, you can get, you know, so if you want just, these are all little strips like that, that I added to my collection because I thought, ooh, mint green. I really liked that, so I picked up a couple when they were half priced. So there are lots of different ways, because faux fur can be very expensive, unfortunately. Like I said, that yard, I think it was a little over a yard, was marked regularly like 30, 35, 36, I think. Oh, no, that hat can go there. So, and these, oops, dropped it on the floor. See, early morning. These, when school starts, they pull these out, and whatever they don't sell, they go on sale, because they're leftovers, and I just buy up a handful. They're just Fiskars non-stick, and they slip in my little kits. They work really well. They're inexpensive, so if something happens to them, I'm not having a special pair. And like I said, I had a yo-yo pair. Oh. Now, Gnomes. Hello, Toodles. Nice of you to join me for a little bit. This is my first video, my first live. I couldn't sleep, so thank you very much, Toodles, for coming. I'm working on some wee little gnomes, and well, I'm working on prep. I showed how I make the noses, and now I have a couple pieces of faux fur I want to cut. Get like a half a dozen beards, then I can put them. I have to get a new bin because my bin was big enough and now it's not, of colors. And I started out with just a couple colors and built up. Now I will show you how I do this, so that when you get a lot of times when you get this and you've got yardage, they'll cut this off and it's flat like that, and then you have faux fur flying everywhere. If you want to leave this really nice stuff, which is what gives your gnomes its nice beard, and then you can trim it and style it, what I do is I take something like this or something like this. I'm so glad you came on, Toodles. It looks like I got 2 people watching. That's amazing, because it is 4 o'clock, and I got watching my chat here. Let's see. Oh, it's 5:20. I got up at 3:30. Anyway, so what I do is I mark this at 1.5 inches, and I just, like I said, I'm rearranging my room, so a lot of my tools aren't where they belong, but I just take a little marker on the back of this, and I will mark up 1 inch, now this strip, yeah, I'll mark up 1.5 inches, and then I'll show you how I go from there. To save I want to use this end because I had already trimmed it to have this beautiful, but it's long and being unruly. See, when they cut it there, you see how that's all cut off, short and rough. So, I will mark up about 1.5 inches because you can trim it down a little bit to fit the size of the body. And usually the most important place to, now see, this one's got a slit, so I'm gonna go from there because whoever cut this one, usually the most important markings for me are right on the edges, so I can, it's not perfect, it's not an exact, you're not all gonna get them like 1 by 1 inch. Sometimes you're gonna have a little bit of wobble in your line, which is okay, because like I said, I have never found 2 gnomes exactly alike, because the cut of the beard, the color of the beard, you got the different shapes of the noses, and then I have little beads I've picked up, so may give my hibiscus flower or butterfly. So now I have a kind of a starting place on the back here. And then to save this beautiful stuff and not have it a ton, I typically take something like this, and I find my line, and let's see if I can bend this down. So when I find my line, I'll separate the fur, and then I can just cut the backing. Now some people try and just carefully cut this. I found it doesn't take much time at all just to move the fur, like parting the waters. And I'll show you how it is after it gets a little parted. Oh, boy. Did I already cut some of this? Oh no, that's gray and white. Alright. See? So here we go. And I probably should cut this piece in half because the length is being unruly and knocking stuff down. And I told you I don't have all the professional tools and bells and whistles and lighting and everything like that. And this is really nice because it's really long. Not all faux fur. It has really nice long locks. But right about where my line is, it's a little low. Right about where my line is, I just part the fur, and then I trim it. So I'll show you in just a minute, because I was a little low, because this one on the back had a slit, so I want to try and take a little bit of that off. Trim that little part off. But you see how I'm doing it? I'm just parting back the fur when I want to cut it, and then most of the time, what I get trimmed is the matting on, is whatever this is that they knit the fur into, and that saves. So the next one will have this nice long fluffy beard instead of looking like a 2-year-old got a hold of a pair of scissors and did a homemade haircut. And you'll always have some fur fly around with this, but you're not gonna have like, you know, like you do when they cut it at the store, because they don't take any time. They just cut it straight across to get her done. So see, there's half of it. And this would be easier if this piece wasn't so long. It also would be easier if I didn't try and finally, I had some help to move some things around to make this creative nook a little bit better. I've been waiting a long time, and I wanted to do that before I went live. Oh, I got 3 people watching. Who's out there? I know Toodles is out there. How are you this morning? I'm trying to watch chat. Um, why? You know, I just couldn't sleep. I haven't done a live or any videos yet. So this is probably the most unprofessional cogswoggle there is. But at least I'm trying. So, see, I've got it parted so I don't cut the fibers. I cut whatever's on the backing. And you see how quick that went? It would have gone quicker if I didn't have such a long strip. So I should have probably started with making this strip smaller. But it is early in the morning and I'm doing something totally new. So see, then basically what I'm cutting is this. And if I'm off on this line or size, that's fixable. That's easily fixable. So see, there's a beard piece. Now, this bottom part, they slashed it. So I will cut across here, probably. I'm trying to decide because this is so beautiful. This will make a beautiful gnome beard. But then I'll just cut them into 1.5 inch wide squares, which probably will make about 4 gnomes out of it. So let's see. Because you don't need big ones. Two. Okay, so this will make about 3. That's not too bad. Because that's, you know, look at how little bit of fur. And if I would have cut it lower because I was vacillating about this slit, then I would have even used less. So it doesn't take a lot. Your fur goes a long way. And since it's so expensive, I find it the cheapest I can. And I think what I'm going to do is just redo my cut on this one. But see here, where I cut it, it has all the nice long fur for the next one. And see, you're going to have stray fur, but you're not going to have like asthma causing fur bundles. And it's just, you know, everybody has a trick. Some people like to try and cut the holes without cutting the fur with a razor knife. I didn't know that. I figured this out on my own when I first started working with this stuff, because I thought, there's got to be a bit of a better way to do this without losing so much of the beautiful fur at the end and having it flying all over my room. So this is a method that I came up scary out of my little pea brain. And like I said, at some point, when I get all set up, I will do a tutorial from building the body all the way up. But since I do pieces, because if you have all the pieces, if you have your beards cut, you have several braids made, you have several noses made, you have the fingers cut off the gloves, so all you have to do is trim them, stuff the bottom, and then trim them. You can lay them out and make quite a few, and you don't have to stop in between each one and cut a piece of fur or braid a braid or make a nose. You can just kind of, so, I've only saw Toodles. I don't know who else is on this morning. Are y'all lurking? lurkers. I mean, because it's saying I have 3. Nobody's put any likes, so I may not save this video. I doubt I'll go back and rewatch it because I'll be cringe. But I'm going to cut this a little shorter now that I have it manageable, because I really love this long bit down here. And sometimes when I get it on there, I'll trim, but I'll show y'all that. Like I said, it's early in the morning. I didn't figure too many people be up watching or hanging out at this hour. So I just thought I would come on while I puttered and break the ice. You know, I think you have to kind of make your first video and kind of break the ice, and then you'll be ready to make another one, and before you know it, at least for me, hopefully they'll get better. I'm just me, and I will always just be me. So, and right now I won't have a schedule. I just pop up when I pop up. And I know one of Rita's ideas, which was a good idea, is sometimes she totters off the bed, and there's several of us that still just kind of want to hang out, which is nice. She had encouraged me to go ahead and go live, because I worked for another hour and a half or 2 hours after she got off that night, and that's when I found out I couldn't do it until you hit a certain point. And all of a sudden, the next night, I had this, it was a blast, and I was really blessed. I'm blessed for everybody who got me to this point. I don't ever plan to be huge. Just a lot of it'll be doing videos like this. I know that, you know, I didn't put down sewing alone because I do little crafts like this. I sew, I quilt, I do little crafts like this. I cook, I bake. If I have to, I fix the car. I'm a jack of many trades and a master of few. And so I didn't want to put myself in a little bit of a pigeonhole where everybody was expecting sewing. And a lot of people said it depends on the title. If people are looking for something, it'll hit on the title, not on the channel name. But and Miss Charlotte helped me with the name, and I tweaked it a little, and Debbie over at in Quilt Fact, another amazing woman and content creator. Well, I bounced a couple of my variations off of it. A name was born, because since I didn't know if I was going to ever do content, I'm going to make a mustache out of that. Look at that. It's too early in the morning. So Toodles is going to watch her grandbaby. Well, I hope you can hear me all right. I hope you can hear me all right, Toodles, because I'm working on that, because sometimes I get soft-spoken and I haven't been able to upgrade my iPad, so sometimes I get a little soft when I'm on, and I don't mean to. It's more experiment than anything, but I hope you have a good day. It's a blessing that you have her to spend time with. So see, So, from here, I will modify it a little bit for the body, but there's a beard. And you see, that didn't take long. Probably would have taken less time if I hadn't been yakking. But you see how you saved. Look at all this. So it can be a true gnome beard. And see how if it's a little wild, you can kind of trim it just a little bit when the gnome's born. They're very simple to make. And I found the idea off a video like 3 or 4 years ago. Couldn't tell you who it was, but I have doctored it. I watched, a string of them after I saw the first one, and like doing this right here, this is my idea. The way I make my braids is pretty much something born out of my brain. Because I like to work smarter, not harder, and I didn't think that all the gnomes should be bachelors. And I don't like gnomes that are just too cartoony, so see, you'll have a little fur, but there's beard number 2. And so, see, the thing with me is if I do this prep, which I know can be boring, then I can just lay out. I don't have to think about that. I can just lay out my beards, lay out all the pieces, and put them all together. Don't know if I'll make one real quick before I get off, but I did want to get these off my table. And I knew that, so there's another one. So see, it's not always perfect. Like this one's pretty good. This one's a little, you can fix that when you're putting them together. But I'll roll this up and we'll make a gnome real quick before I finish up it, and then some point I'll make an official tutorial. Let's see. I have to keep some things in little bags, and my gnome bodies I have to keep in little bags because I have a dog. My sister's dog likes to take my glove fingers, and she likes to take them apart. So if she finds a bag that's already stuffed like this, or she finds a bag of cut fingers, so like here, I have gray hats. So they're cut, the fingertips are all cut. You can make bodies out of these, but I prefer using this for bodies. I love these mint green bodies, but you can't always find them. Little floof. I do have a bigger bag up there, but a little floof. This is my gnome. See, and I have these maroon ones. There's some purple and pink fuzzy ones. Those are hats. So, basically, this is a lot of different hats. There's some pink ones in here. There's some, like, oh, let me see. Alright, so, what I would do to make a gnome body. See, I just have this little bag that's supposed to be for bringing groceries home. And I put everything in there. So if I'm traveling, I'm going somewhere, this is what I use when I make my braids. So if I want to pop off a gnome, And I would have to check and make sure. I just have a small material, all the materials in here. And I'm probably going to have to get a new one because I added, and this is what I use for braids. For those that are curious, it's a number 8 DMC floss. Okay, there's some supplies missing, but that's alright. So, what I would do is pull out, I got a green body here, pull out one of these little rubber bands. Oh, I have a green rubber band. It blends in, not that you're going to see it. I'll get my fat fingers. So I pull out a rubber band, like that. And normally I have I think I swiped it to put in there. Get a little floof. And this is where they become unique too. Thank you, Toodles, for letting me know. This is where every gnome becomes unique too, because it depends on how much floof you put in here. And you can use any kind of polyfill and leftover pieces. So see, I can make them fat, I can make them skinny, and so I just move them around till I think he looks right. I like kind of jolly gnomes. I don't like ones that look just like they haven't been eaten in a while. So get a body, get him stuff. And a lot of times I'll have a bunch of these. So these were left over from my last round. No, that's why I'm making one real quick, Toodles. Because they all disappeared. Shouldn't take but a couple minutes. That's why I'm making one so you can see it. I showed at the beginning of the video what happens when you put the kind of put it together. So you take the body, take the rubber band, put it around the top of this, just enough to hold it together. Now I'll trim some of this because it was a little raggedy. So that's why they're all different sizes, because it's different sizes of the fingers and just whatever I felt like stuffing it with. You don't have to put this super tight. It's basically just to hold the floof in, like that. Try and make sure you have these little bits like that. Should have had a sample done, but I wasn't even expecting to go on this morning. So I'm going to trim this down because I just don't need the extra here. Like that. Usually this ends up on the floor, and then I just sweep everything up later. Now, we pick a hat. Let's see. That's not one. I could give this little feller, think of a nice tall pink hat. Yeah, we'll do pink today. See, that's how they're all different, because I can do, I don't have a lot of burgundy left. Hopefully they'll come out for the winter and I can get some more. But see, I could do a little short black hat. Ooh, that looks really nice on him. Pink, black. Oh, Rhonda! Morning, Rhonda. How are you doing? I'm trying to do my first live because I couldn't sleep and I was working on some gnomes. Gnome beards, actually. And different things. And then I thought, well, I should show you how I put one together. So I have a body here. And then these floofy things I use for hats. You can use them for bodies, but I didn't like the look. So I was trying to decide if I'll go with the gray or the pink. I think I'm going to go with the gray because I like it. And these, now you can use any knit glove from anywhere, but be careful, the thinner the knit glove, the harder it is to work with. So I typically get mine, I've gotten these hats are from Walmart, but I typically wait and get some from Joann's when they're on sale. So, and see, I get different colors, so I can make black, and I use the plain ones for a body. And the only drawback is some of these have like a white tip or a black tip for touching. I hope you're doing well, Rhonda, this morning, Rhonda and Toodles. Toodles been keeping me company, so I've got it trimmed up. I got the hat. Let me plug my glue gun back in. Now, I use a glue gun that has a high-low. These aren't the $3 ones that are one temperature and burn the crap out of you. These have a high-low, so if I need it high heat, I can. Otherwise, for like gnomes, I put it on low heat because then I don't get my fingers. I had it in a bag. You know, it's not so hot on my fingers. So while that, so I have a hat, I have a body. Now let's find a beard. Ross. Maybe one of these. Why are you guys so giant? I gotta trim you down, you giant. What could do? Rust color. So that, see, this is what makes each gnome unique. The more of these different colors that you have, and for some reason I don't have, for some reason I must have been in a mood because look, I just put a patch in there. That's why I was working on gnome beards. So I'm trying to do so see, that would be with a golden beard. This would be with a rust-colored beard. And I think maybe this morning we're going to go with the rust color. Yes, I could make him rainbow. I could match mint green, but then it would blend in. I'll find another color for the mint green. Now, I have to trim this down because for some reason I got very generous with this beard and it's way too much beard. So the first thing I'll do is trim it this. Oh, one of this. Which way? Oh, wait a minute. Which way is your fur going for your beard to hang down? This way. Okay. That makes it. Oh, I bet you I know what I did. I was refilling my kit and I just cut some patches of beard and didn't come back. And of course I pick a color. So normally I have these all ready to go and grab, but I'm sure you want to see what at least one of these critters look like. And yes, I have figured out and do make girl gnomes, because I started out by figuring out how to make the little wee men, and I thought they'd be lonely. I mean, you can't have just a good, whole convent of bachelors. So it took me 2 or 3 weeks to figure out what the best material to make a female, and that's one of the next prep things. That's why I'm not doing a tutorial. You're just watching me putter live because I had to get a first video under my belt. and I couldn't sleep. There we go. Got my beard. Now, I go over here. You go back to get up at 6? Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. So, I'll go in here, pick out a nose, and so since all the noses are different, I'll just look at them. This one stands out. And I have all my pieces. You see how simple that was? And like I said, normally I would do this process. I'd have like 12 bodies laid out. Then I'd match up beards with them, half of them, and braids with the other half, 12 to 20. And then, and I'd have the hats and bodies and beards, I have them all laid out, and then I just but Toodles wants to see what it looks like, so we're gonna make one real quick here. So the first thing you do, this is like really kind of untamed. This is gonna be a wild man. No. If you want, you can carefully trim some of this backing off to make it just look a little nicer, but you want to be careful because you don't want to trim any of his beautiful hair. Sometimes I'll cut these corners because you can kind of see the backing, but it doesn't have any faux fur stuck to it. Depends on just how fiddly you want to be. Then I'll take his little body. Don't lose these noses. They like to roam off. So then I'll take, I want to put it about like that. So I'll just take some of this glue and get it on there. We are birthing a gnome live. So there you go. So now you have this guy with his little wild woolly beard. So the next thing you do is this little nose. You figure out which side, because so I'm going to do this like little bumpy side up. So I will put a little dot of glue right here. It's like that. Put his little wee nose on. Like that. And then comes his hat. And sometimes you'll have to trim the hats a little bit. You know, I try and trim them down after I cut them off so they're pretty much ready to go on. But sometimes they get a little wiggly. So I turn the hat inside out and I find the seam where the hat was knit together, and just a little tit here of the hat I put a little glue, just a little bit there, and then I turn it right side out and smash it together to give it shape. So you don't need to go very far, but you see how that all of a sudden looks more like a hat, and all it is a little tiny dabba do. So then, do you look wily or not? Okay. So then I will slip his hat on over his head, like that. And I will start in the back. And you kind of have to, so you see how the hat covers the top of the beard and then covers that little stump from the nose? That's why you want to kind of trim down the nose, and you can adjust it like you like. And if you have some straggly hat fur, you can trim it. And then I start on the back, and I lift up the hat and put a little bit of hot glue there first and get the back stuck down. And then I come around, once it's stuck down, I come around and I lift up this part of him. And I put a little glue carefully right across that nose area and pull the hat down, and before it gets too stuck, I adjust it. And then I do any little trimming that I want to do. And there you go. Now, I do have a, oh, that's where that went. I do have a little, I have a selection of little beads. And so I'm looking to see if I can find my tray of them, but I have hibiscus, and I have some metal butterflies, and I have some angel wings with a heart that I'll put on for a memorial gnome. So that's the last step. And that's the last step, because when I give these out, they can either thread a needle and hang it, or I include a magnet that you can stick to the back, and then you can make a decision if you want to make him a hanging gnome. He'll have a little thread in the bag with him. If you want to make him a magnetic, he'll have a little stick-on magnet that goes there. And let me see if I thought I saw it that wasn't wearable, but like snowflakes, I could give them these little, I have searched around and found on sale and yard sales and stuff, but this is the, and of course there's not one that's open, is there in here? No. There's hair. It's not in here. It's probably in the other bag over there. But these are the wee little magnets, and they just pop out. I'll give them a little encouragement. But there's 12 per sheet. So this is the wee little magnet. This peels off. It sticks to his back, and then you can stick it to anything that's magnetic. So this goes in a snack bag with a magnet and a little piece of cording, and that way the person can decide, do I want to hang them up like on a tree or on a post or whatever, or do I want to, a lot of people just like to stick them to their fridge or something like that. Some people like to hang them. And I just prefer to give people that choice, you know, and if they want me to put it on there, I'll put it on there. I don't know what you're doing in there. You can, where's it goes? Why is that? Yes, I do talk to myself sometimes when I'm puttering them. Thank you, Rhonda. Like I said, you typically have a lot of the prep work, so you see how easy it is to put together when you have them all prepped. Here it is. So I get this stretch cord in different colors, and it's just stretchy, kind of sparkly cord. And it's easy to put on a hat or through one of their decorations. And for some reason, all I have in here are snowflakes. But I know I have a little tin. So if you guys will be patient for a minute, I'll go see if I can grab check in the other bag. Because they shouldn't be, or are they up here? No. I've been moving things around, so not everything is where it belongs. So you hear me, and I'll be right back. I didn't plan on staying on this long, but this video may not remain, because this is kind of my first try at wandering around, and it is early, so it doesn't early in the morning. I probably won't stay on long, but I wanted to make sure that I gave him his trimmings one way or the other. There's this one, and that's my gnome bag. Now wait a minute, watch it sitting right here. See if it's here. Yep, it's in this other bag. So, I have collected from different places and on sale at places like Joanne, just a selection of flat beads. I don't think this is the right bin, but I love these little hibiscus flowers. They work really nicely. No. Pink. Pink might go with his beard. But in my other one, I grabbed it. In my other one, I have like little metal butterflies, so like I could give them a hibiscus flower here and a butterfly there. And there's like 5 colors or so, and I'll just do that one across the room somewhere. Ooh, I could do that. This was okay. There. Oh, I got a butterfly in here. So here's like one of the metal butterflies, and I have those in 2 sizes. So I have a little teeny one, and I have the bigger one. And so if I want to put 2 on there, I can. But this isn't the right kit. But it does have some hibiscus, so he will have a little. Wait a minute. So as you can see, there's several colors. There's purple, light lilac, green, orange. I think I'll do a red. And when I do like an official tutorial, because this has been over an hour, not everybody's going to want to watch my wanderings. So I'm going to have to get off of here soon. But all I do is put a little bit where I want to put it on the hat. And in this case, I want to put it in this little dimple. And this kind of gives him a little identity. And when I find some of the butterflies, I'll probably put a little butterfly down here. And there's your gnome. See how quick and easy it is when you have all the prep and have all the parts all together. And it's the same way with the wee girls. Once I have braids made, I just basically do the same process, but do braids instead of beards. And it doesn't take long to braid, but it's just easier for me to have them pretty much kind of ready to go, because then I can just lay them out and their little personalities are born. And so this guy's a little wild because he's got, but everyone will be different because I have all kinds of different things. So, I hope that you guys have enjoyed wandering with me. I still have some beard to cut, and I need to find, I got these little containers, and they go in my gnome bag, so I have at least supplies together. And I thought this was the right container, but this is a miscellaneous container that my niece was using. And basically, you can use any bead that you don't have to put any embellishment, but you can use any bead if you want. I mean, you could have a little ladybug, but I found things like this, these little hummingbirds, on certain color hats work good. Oh, there's a baby butterfly. I was looking. So, the butterflies come like this, and they come like this. And I have I have hearts. And sometimes I have 2-3 different kinds of hearts, and sometimes I'll hide a heart under the beard, just as a special surprise. And in the other kit, this is I grabbed the wrong kit. But anyway, in my other kit, I have some angel wings, so I can put those on. But I think this little guy, right about here, and it's all of this is up to you. And I didn't start out with, you know, I have built up little supplies here and there. You know, the Hildy and Joe, or whatever they are, at Joann's goes on sale for $1 a string. I'll go, you know, a couple times. I haven't bought any in a couple years, but they went on sale for 2 or 3 times for $1 a string. And so I just stocked up on a few and played with which sizes work. And so now sometimes I find them at thrift stores or that kind of thing. You can go right there. And shoot, put my finger in it this time. And then I just kind of have all the spares in a big box. I got a lot of duds, you know, ones that are too bulky, or there we go. And then I just check the hat to make sure that it's glued down good. So see, like, there's a pocket right there, where it didn't quite get enough of the glue. And there you go. He's all ready to put in his little baggie. He's got his little butterfly over here, his little hibiscus flower, his little wild beard, and he's all tucked in. And then you can hang him, or you can put the magnet. So I move things around. Normally I have my little baggies over here, and I moved them over here. See, that's why my friend said my channel needs to be named Wanderings, because I end up wandering around. And it's much nicer in here. It needed to be fixed, but when I fixed it, you know, everything got moved around. So normally I keep a box of little snack set them someplace. Oh, wait a minute. There they are. No. Okay. I have some of these probably in my gnome kit bag. Because I have a little battery powered glue gun that works pretty well. So if I get, but usually I'm just making parts. So here we go. So he'll go in one of these, and he'll get a magnet, and he'll go in here so that he's safe. But that's it. That's how fast it is once you have the parts cut. And then the girls are the same way. I just have to make some braids. I was working on noses and getting my beards in order because my little this little box was the original box, and it held most of the faux fur, but the faux fur has had a party and well outgrew the box. But I had found some. So this is like a gray and white, but I found some like this, and I don't know if it'll work because it's the floofy kind. But each beard will be a little different because it's kind of spotted like a cow. And I may or may not use it because it's this kind, and it makes a nice beard and it works. It's just a little funky. But it's the only one left that I don't have a representation of that I can either cut down real quick or... Rhonda, I hope you have a really good, blessed day. I guess I got 2 watching now. I got a like. I got my first like. I don't know who did it, but thank you very much. So anyway, there's one guy. And then I have some bodies in here that were from the last round, so I could just pull one of these out and make another one. And you see, this one will be a little different because of the shape. This one will be like a itty bitty because this was a pinky. This guy, I didn't really like this color, but this is like one of the bigger fingers, and you get like a big fat one. I don't mind this color so much. It's not as dark. The gray's okay. I like the mint green bodies, the lilac, the pink, and then the floofy hats, the kind of furry hats. But that's what, you know, I bought gloves here, there, and they're all cut and in a bag, so I can pull out hats. I can pull out bodies. And I know that. So okay, so here's a bag with just cut fingers. I've been putting them all in by color, but this is one of the original bags. So there's light pink, maroon, light gray, and the green, the mint green, which I need to get more of. Just like I don't have very many of. I made these up for bodies. I didn't quite like how they look, so I've been slowly deflating them because I don't have very many of those for hats right now. Hopefully with winter coming up I'll get some more, but I do have some of the nice maroon ones. Oh, so this is the thing. When you get the gloves, especially at Joann's, and they're not real expensive, and a lot of times they'll put them, you know, 40% off or buy one get one free, so it's like $1 a glove or something like that. But they come, see how these have gray tips on them, and I just haven't decided whether or not I might make a hat out of it. I think the body would look weird with the gray tip, but I cut them all off. And usually I trim them up because then all that mess is done. And so you can just stuff your bodies, lay them out, pick out a beard, pick out a nose, pick out a hat, pick out braids. But like this one would need to be trimmed because you see like that. So I would just trim this, the right scissors, Joe. I would just trim this here kind of like this. Get rid of this funky bit, and a hat would look like this. Roll it open. You see where this line is, where they put it together. Get rid of a couple of these threads because they just kind of, I put just a tiny bit of glue here. Flip it this way. And so, and this just kind of gives it a little bit of a hat feel. So when it went on a body, it would kind of look like that. And so everyone, again, is different. And I haven't decided if I like that for a hat or not. So I have a bunch of them that I saved. It's usually the thumb. It's usually, if you get stuck with it, it's usually the thumb and the pointer finger because it's supposed to help you know which fingers you use for texting on your phone, as if you wouldn't know. But still, for the price I pay, I still get eight gnomes out of every pair of gloves, or 8 hats without using these, something like that. So, and the big thing is I'm waiting because I want to get some more, like, as you can see, I'm very low on the mint green bodies. I like those. I'm very low on the purple lilac bodies. And I really like those. That's a beard. So I'm kind of low on these because they didn't have them out, and I didn't find them last winter, and I used most of my stock. So I'll be on the hunt when it gets just a little cooler, because I don't typically use the Dollar Tree ones simply because they're thin, and so and real stretchy. But I found good ones at Joann's, good ones at Walmart, and the ones at Joann's are usually really reasonable. So, morning, Giovanna. How are you this morning? I don't know that I'll be on much longer. I think, oh my gosh, I've been on 60. I've been on over 2 hours, I think, or maybe it's an hour. See, hour and a half. I can do my math early in the morning, but I was doing some gnome prep and I couldn't sleep, and I figured I needed to get a new video out. And then Toodles wanted to see what the gnome looks like after the prep's done, and here's a male. Well, I just thought maybe you guys might want to know that we're night owls and looking for a place. This is my very first creative content. It may not even stay up here, but this is a male, and I just have to make braids and make him a girl. But I was telling everybody that typically I make up a bunch of the noses, I prep a bunch of the beards, I prep the braids, and then I can just lay them out and make a whole little army in a few minutes. Because those 3 things, the noses, and the braids, then the noses, and then cutting the beards. But I have a lot of these pretty much cut and ready to go, and so you can just lay them out. And I have to figure out where my little tray of beads disappeared to, or make a new one. And I keep a lot of them just in a bag, so all their little parts are together. knit gloves. Just inexpensive knit gloves. So that's why they're different sizes. So, like here's a gray one, and here's a maroon one. So depending on the finger you use, and I just cut up all my knit gloves because I prefer to have them all kind of trimmed up and ready just to grab, and I put a little polyfill in them. So that's how come everyone's unique, because you'll have one like this, you'll have a little pinky like this that will be a little small one. You can have one that's in the middle. So some of it depends on where the finger is on the glove and how much stuffing you put in it. Like this is kind of a fat guy. I don't care for skinny gnomes, so I make them a little extra stuffed. But if you want skinnier ones, you can do that. And I just, during the winter, I go and get, I haven't bought any, I didn't get very many last year because they just didn't have a lot of variety, but, and I had plenty. So this year I'll kind of restock, but I use this kind of knit glove for hats because I like this for hats. And so that's what this fella has. And I had a different color that I really liked, but I'm almost out of it. But that's to see how I use the floofy for the hat and just the regular standard inexpensive knit glove for the body. And earlier in the video I showed you real quick how to make a nose. They're pretty simple to make, but I have different floofy ones like this that I use for hats, and different ones that I use for bodies. And there's got to be another bag of these because I'm missing some. Oh, maybe I have more than I thought, because I have some. I like these red ones. Which one did I use for Mr. Gnome? I don't know, he disappeared. See, I also have these maroon ones, and they're like, they have like little black specks in them, and they're more woolly. Come from the same bin, same price as the other, but they just make really cool hats because they're different. So I have some of those, and they're kind of two-tone, and then I have these blue ones that are fluffy. It's a whole variety, and I just have them, and I have to put them in something, because if I don't put them in a bag like this and keep all my supplies, Deb's Basset Hound will pull all these bags open and take all these fingers and scatter them for no reason. She doesn't care about them. She just wants to tear them all open and give me a headache. So I keep, and plus it kind of keeps things together, but I noticed that I was missing my bin with my, I'm missing, my little bin that has all my the little, beads and stuff that I put on their hats or something like that. So if I wanted to make a purple girl, take this nice purple one and make a girl real quick before I sign off here. And I will make, and this is my first live to meander around and just, because this is what I was working on and it was early in the morning. So this that I have in this bag is DMC floss. It's number 8. And this is what I use. Ooh, there's a gold braid already made. Look at what I found. Is that the only one that's in here? No. Let me see. That might work. But I have a plethora of colors because I have saved, you know, I've just picked them up here and there on sale, the little skeins, and then I cut them up so that I can just pull out some and make a braid. And I have a golden braid, like a golden ticket. So my braids end up looking like this. And this one's a little short, but it's perfect for depending on the body. So the girl gnomes will, hold on, have, this needs to be trimmed because it's being aggravating. It took me a couple weeks to figure out what to do and how to do this, but the girl gnomes have little braids like this. Now this one I think is a tad short. I usually do them about 1.25 inches, but I hadn't bought, oh, look, I have this little pink body, so this could be her hair, and it would be the perfect length. And you can adjust these ties. They'll probably be trimmed up because they are a little long. But you can adjust these, like if you make a longer one and you need it short, have a smaller body, you can push these up a little bit if you don't tighten them down too tight at first, and adjust to your body's needs. So I can throw a girl gnome together, and basically what I do is I cut it into pieces, and then I'll tie a little piece to hold it together. I'll clip it under the clipboard. I'll separate 4 strands here, 4 strands, and braid it, just like you would braid hair. That took a bit, but we can do a girl gnome real quick because I've got everything here. Yeah, I usually do them about 1.5 inches, but the whole braid, I usually do the braids down and then tie these on, and if I need to, I kind of wiggle this knotted area around and trim it down. This one, I must have been tired or distracted because it was a little short, but it works out because not all my bodies are the same shape or size, so it's perfect for this one. So for this gnome, and some people use rubber bands here to hold this. That's nonsense to me because these little rubber bands are hard enough to get around to hold the bodies together till you get her put together or hold the noses together. So I just use a little piece of the floss, and I kind of like the flat over having the knot on the front. Put a little glue up here at the top, like that. Take where the middle is, kind of glue it down like that. So I just put a dab of glue where this is. Put her down. Now see, this is, and if I want to slide her down a little bit because she's going to have a hat on, I can do that. And this is perfect for this one. I go over here to my nose box, pick out a nose for her, and let's find a good nose for you, because all the noses come out different. That's a good nose. And I showed earlier, I was showing whoever was on how to make noses. I'll trim this up. And then I'll pick which side I like for the nose. Do I like it looking like that? Do I like it looking like that? Kind of look like that. There you go. No real exact science. I put a little glue right up here. So there, now she has a nose tucked in between her braids. And we'll find a hat for her. Wondering. That'd be perfect. See how fast this comes together when you have all the kind of supplies ready? And that's what I was starting to work on. I was awake. So then I'm making a hat. I turn the finger inside out. I find the seam where they kind of put it together. I put a little glue on there, and then I flip it just a little tiny line on there, and then I flip it this way, and all that does is give it a little bit of definition. Did I unplug my... No, I didn't. Okay. That just gives the hat a little definition when you pull it over the head. I have some little stray fuzzies here. So I look at kind of where I want the hat to sit, and I turn it, put it on her head. It needs a little trimming here. Okay, I like that. So, and I can trim it a little after I get it on. And once again, the first thing I do is put a good bloop of glue on the back here. And I get the back of the hat tacked down. So then I can pull it around. And you have to hold your braids when you do the front part, because you don't want to glue your braids to anything. I should tuck that braid under her nose a little better, but that's alright. Then I do the front, and the braid and the hat helps hold the nose and the braid and everything in place. And you can always lift up. You can always lift up the little edges and add a little until you get it set kind of where you want it. And then if it's got little stray, needs some shaping or whatever, you can do that. And pretty much, there's a little girl born. Now, these braids are a little bit longer than her other ones, so I'll just give them a quick haircut. Make sure these don't look too raggedy. Her brother must have braided her hair this morning. Pull this out from underneath. Come on. There you go. There's a little girl now. And then I normally have a bigger selection, because this is the wrong bin that I keep. I keep more in, and if I can't find my little bin, that I normally have, then I will have to set up a new one. But this does have a couple that I use fairly regularly. And I think I'm going to use this one. See where I like it. I like it in that little dimple. So see, when I finish up, I may end up trimming around the nose a little bit to get rid of some scragglies. I may have to lift up an edge and put a little more glue under there. But there you go. So there's her. And so there's a male. And there's a female. So if you do the fiddly chores first, like getting your faux fur beards kind of trimmed to the right size. Now she really needs something a little extra, but I don't think it's in this little puka. Perhaps I could give her a hummingbird. So she'll just wait. These butterflies are kind of big. Let's see, I had the two different sizes. And I found a little one. Oh, there we go. You're perfect. Found that too. You get back in the bag and behave yourself. So I have butterflies normally in two sizes. I have some hearts. But I also have these teeny tiny sparrows. And the sparrow is perfect. And hopefully before I do my next video, I'll find my tin that has all the ones that I've found in different places that work well for this. Because there's a lot out there that look like they'd be cool to put on these little, and a lot of times I'll just use one. But she seemed like she needed a, but I guess it's time for me to get going because I keep dropping her. Poor thing's gonna have a head injury before. And there you go. So everyone will be unique. Some will just have one. Normally if I put a butterfly or bird, I put it down here. For some weird reason, she's got it up there. In my other kit, which isn't here, I have some wings, some metal wings attached to a heart. And I will put them a lot of times on the back of a gnome for like loss of a pet or a loved one. So you can get like a memorial gnome. But there you go. That's how easy and fast it is to make them once you have everything kitted up and ready to go. So I'm going to do one thing. I'll turn my... See, and I could make the other ones of these that are these three, because I have enough beards. But I don't know where my other kit is. and I want to show you real quick. So I get a skein of this number 8 pearl, and then I cut it in half, and cut it in half. I cut it in half. I just open it up and cut it in half, and then I cut each of those in half, and then I count out 12 strands. So there should be 12 strands here, like this. And a lot of my bags have just a bunch of strands. Some of them I have pre-counted, and I have put a little matching tie for the braid, so I can do what I'm doing now, just grab it, and because it won't be this long anyway. I fold it in half, try and find as close to the middle as possible. I take this and tie it. If you're brave and you want to try and wrestle, putting a rubber band around that, be my guest. I just used a small bit of this because I'll use this strand for the braids. So I just use enough to be able to tie it in a knot to hold the threads together. Because you're not going to see it once you get it on her. Once she grows hair, that'll be hidden, and it's enough. And then I just clip it. Now, when I get done making, I'll clip those back before I put it. So then I have a mini clipboard. You can use you can tape it. You can tape it to your leg. You can get a big clipboard. No. But I just had this little mini clipboard, and what I do is I put it in here on the middle to hold it down like that. I pull this over and thin it out, so that it lies flat, and then I separate, and I'll show you this. I separate the threads by count. It looks like I didn't count this one. All right, 1, 2. Oh no, wait a minute, I put 5 there. Okay. And see this, that you want to fiddle with this just a little bit, because if you pull a strand all the way across from the left to the right, then your braid's going to be kind of funky. So you kind of want to get them, so I got them separated into 3, 4 strand pieces, and then I just braid. And I don't measure anymore. I typically just make a nice kind of little tight 1.5 inch to 2 inch braid. And then, like I said, you can fiddle. I try and leave the braid ties a little longer so I can fiddle with them, and then I trim them when I'm putting her together. But usually about 1.5 to 2 inch braids are perfect. Those were short, so I used those for her, because they fit with the pinky finger one that was there. I would have done the purple one with a different color, but I wanted to show you real quick kind of how I do this. So see, I'm just doing it like I would be braiding hair, crossing the 3 braids over or making challah bread. And that's probably about long enough, because you don't want it humongous and have to mess with it, so too much. Alright, come on. There you go. And so now that I have it, and this doesn't want to cooperate tonight, this morning, whatever time it is, medicine time. Okay, so you see, probably didn't use the best color, But you see I have a little braid there. And I'll just take this and use about half of it and tuck it under there and tie it tight. And I'll trim the braid a little bit. I don't trim it, I just trim some of the edges, because you can always trim a little bit off, a little bit more off when you're putting her together. I used to kind of use a measuring tape and do a little more measuring when I did this. But you kind of get, if you do it, if you're doing one or two, then you probably need to be a little bit more, pay a little more attention to that. Now you want to make sure your braid's kind of held together before you pull this little string tight, because you want a kind of nice looking braid. And if I have to, I'll just swipe a string of this from one of the bags. But usually I have enough for my fingers. And then, so see, there is half a braid. And I will trim this probably about here. And then I go to the other side. I kind of separate it, because you don't want to, when you got it like this, you really don't want to bring a thread that's over here and have it over here, because it makes it harder to braid. So I kind of thin it out a little bit. And if for your head you need to trim these up straight, then you trim them up. But I'm just trying to give you a quick finish up here of, because the braid I used for her I had made, and I'm giving you all my tips because it took me a lot of butzing to figure this one out, because I didn't want just got boy gnomes. And then I separate it by 4 strands. I like the fullness of 4 strands. There's another kind of DMC floss, kind of, I think it's called fairy something, and it's got kind of metallic on it, but it's very floofy. I have some. I have never tried it because it's expensive. So it's been just sitting there waiting. Waiting for the day I want to experiment it, because this has worked for me. This DMC Pearl number 8, I can get, you know, pretty reasonable. And I use number 8 because the cotton thread's a little thicker than regular DMC floss. I've tried regular, I've tried number 5, so on and so forth, and I've just found that 8 works better. Now some of this will be covered up at the top, so and I don't know why I picked such a dark color to kind of show you guys this, but it was there. And I've been on 2 hours, so I'm probably been on way too long. Rambling. But I got my first 2 likes. I'm so excited. And I'm going to finish up. I just, in case anybody wanted to watch this, which I don't know that they want to watch the whole thing. Like I said, I'll do a tutorial where it'll be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. Because this was just company early in the morning. See if anybody was up. So I try and match up the sides to kind of make the sides even, tied about evenly. And like so, there we go. Braid it a little longer than where I want to tie it so it stays tight. And so that one piece of thread that I pulled out held the top together and is enough to do the ties of the braids. Now you can do a matching color. You can do it however you want. I try to find a complementary color or kind of like to go with it, just to give it a little oomph. And like I said, I do leave it slightly long till I get it on the gnome, and then I'll trim the ties, because sometimes you're going to want to, sometimes you're going to go, oh, I want that braid, but my gnome is short, like Helga here was short. So now I have it at this point. That's a full braid, and it'll be trimmed here so this doesn't get in my way when I'm putting it on the gnome. And I will do my initial trim. I make sure that the braids are out of the way. Do my initial trim a little long so I can trim it up once I have it on her and even it up, because my cuts aren't always even, and I may need to sharpen my scissors because they're not cutting as well tonight. You know, my favorite scissors, I may have to sharpen. Then I take the other side and do the same thing, and I often cut it wrong because I get a dyslexic brain. But I got it, you know, on the shape, because I'll be cutting this way and I'll end up with them going two opposite directions. So there is a braid ready to go. Didn't take long. And like I said, I'll probably try and have about 10 of these done. And I have plenty of beards to choose from. And then 20 noses, and then I can just line them up and do five boys, 5 girls. But there you go. Now you have a braid to work with. Now see how I did this one with this lady. The ones I used on her were really short. I don't know what I was thinking when I made that braid, or I was interrupted because I was making it at the doctor's office waiting, or having to wait someplace. But it worked out fine because she's got good braids. And you got to see all the different parts of the process, with a lot of meandering in the middle. So this video would be way too long for you to have to, well, maybe you could fast forward through it. But I will work on getting one that is under, hopefully 30 minutes or under. But this basically, like I've said more than once, is a test video. Magnet. So that if you want to put a magnet on her back to stick her up on a fridge or something, then you can. And I'll put a little piece of cording in here. So if you want to put the cording by the head and hang her up, or you want me to put it through, then it will. So there's 2 gnomes. And normally it would not take me an hour and a half to do 2 gnomes, but I cut 4 beards, 5 beards. I made a couple braids. I made a couple noses. I showed you how to put together from start to finish 1 male and 1 female. And I talked and meandered, and now it's time to take a rest. And what I do is, once my braids are finished, I put them back in the Ziploc, in a little snack Ziploc. I do have smaller ones I probably could get out and use. I haven't thought about that, but I reuse these for braids. So once I empty it, it'll get another braid in it, and I'll put it with the prep supplies that are done. So once braids take the longest for me, then noses, and trimming up the beards. But I have plenty of squares of those, which are about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, not exact. And So I'll do, like I said, a bunch of braids. I've got my beards. This is my nose kit. I already have 12 of them done. Used 2 of them. I can still make 10 gnomes. And you see how fast it went together because I had the pieces, parts ready to go. So it depends on if you're going to make one of each or you're going to do like I do and lay them out. Irene, hello. Thank you for joining me. I don't know exactly when you joined me, but I'm still figuring this out, and I don't know how to see chat on my iPad. I don't have all the professional equipment, but this is my first live, my first YouTube venture on my own. So these are the beards I cut this morning, starting out, and then Toodles wanted to see a finished gnome, so I finished one of each. And like I said, I'm sure you won't want to go through a 2-hour video to see all the pieces, parts, and this first video may not stay up for very long because it might be scary. But it's there if you want to wander through it. But I will be doing a better tutorial, an actual tutorial, so you can just go through it. You don't, you're not just giving me company in the morning. Blue. And basically what I had planned on doing was just sitting here and seeing if anybody, and talking, kind of letting you get to know me a little, those that don't, but most of you do, and working on cutting some beards because I had two left, 2 colors left, and then we got meandered, but it's all about gnomes, so that's good. We didn't veer off of that. And probably I should have had a gnome tutorial up so I could go, oh, if you really want to see what I'm making from this, go to my gnome tutorial. But I'm not that organized yet. I'm still trying to get this place looking like Randy said tornado went through. So anyway, put my extra floof back. And I got this all in a bag so the dog don't get in it. And I'm trying to find a new container for my beards because my color collection is grown. And like I said, don't worry about it if all you have is 1 color for beards or 2 colors for beards. It took me, I've been making these gnomes for almost 4 years now. Took me about 3.5, I guess. And it took me about 2 years to come up with all the colors I have, and I had gotten them here and there. Like when I first started out, I wish I knew that, and unfortunately those that you aren't here don't have this option, but I wish I would have known that you could get a good sized chunk for $3 and then often on sale at Hobby Lobby of a multitude of different colors. That's where I found the mint green that I really like. But I got 3 or 4 there, 3 or 4 because they were on sale. But that's where I got the mint green, and this will make a lot of beards because the beards are only about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and if you cut them well, then you'll keep the nice length and you won't have a lot of waste. I have bought a lot of remnants. You know, when faux fur is on sale at like Joann's and you can get 50% off, that's the time to go ahead and dive in and get some, even though you'll have it forever, but you'll end up with like rust and mustard, and there's some pink here, and look at this wild color. You know, kind of like a platinum. I have a couple different kinds of gray. So there's a whole, then here's a light rainbow. And I have this weird orange that's hard to use. I need to find some that's easier to use. Um, and I like variety. So like this has a little black in it. This is like a all brown. So I like a variety. This one's new. I haven't tried this one yet. It's kind of like a leopard, but I think it's pretty cool. And there's like this black one. So, you can also get little, if you go over in the trim at your ends, you can get little rolls of it. And like I said, pom-poms. Get these little pom-poms on sale or clearance. And they're little keychains. They look like a little poofy ball. You just trim the thread real carefully and open it up, and you've got several gnome beards in colors you may not have, and you're not paying, because faux fur, good faux fur, is expensive, and I couldn't like find this color available, so I found it in one of those poofy keychains. Good faux fur. I just carefully worked with it until I popped the string and opened it up and took the fluff out. So, well, thank you very much, Giovanna. I must be like Italian or something. I talk with my hands. I think I got that from my father. But like, I have some of this, and I think it'll make neat beards. But it's very flexible. So when you're putting it on your little gnome body, it will drape differently. Because it kind of folds in. And it looks fine, and it's pretty cool. But it's a little harder to work with. And when I first started making gnomes, I didn't know that there's basically two standard backs. This loose weave and the stiffer. And you know, it's a little fiddly. And like my orange, I love my orange. Because you get some wild beards out of this because it's that loose weave. So these guys look like they're like a little bit wild. Looks like I might have to pull out some orange and cut a couple more. But see, they get a little bit more wild looking, and they're a little harder to glue on. But they work. But I was not aware of that. So when I buy faux fur now, I look at the back, and 99% of the time I will get the stiffer back because it looks really well on there, and it's much easier to, you know, I'll trim this up and make it fit the face. But see with the stiff how it doesn't roll around your finger, but you can trim it up so it looks really good on the gnome. Take a little of that out carefully. But I wanted orange, and it was in the remnant bin, and so I got curly. I got that before I knew. I wanted this and thought it was really cool looking, and this was an oops about 6 months ago, because it was this, and I thought, well, I'll use it anyway. I only paid $3 for a yard or something. And then I got some black. I bought a roll of black. I just remembered that. Because I haven't had any black faux fur. Hang on a minute. If you guys are bored, I can leave, but, which I probably will pretty soon, because I'm going to need to stretch. But I just remembered that I got a big remnant of black, because I didn't have any, and sometimes some of the younger gnomes have black hair. Are you locked out on the porch, you doopy dog? Come on, you asshole. Go. I called. Sun hadn't come up, and I told you to come in the house, and you didn't listen to me. Don't go shake yourself. Don't go shake yourself. Yeah. there was like a yard, maybe a yard and a half of black faux fur, and it would have been like crazy, like 36 bucks, and it was in the remnant bin and on sale. And it was so exciting because I got it for 250, 275. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'll be right there, guys. Oh yes, you baby, you're so handsome. I, I could go back to my line. I gotta get off soon. Take a rest. Just remember this. I think it's the right kind. I gotta take a lot of pictures. I can come over and sit. Push me out my chair. Well, I want to thank y'all. I've been moving things around and I still have a lot to get straightened up in here. This is my original work area and still where I do most of my stuff. I have a cutting table there and some extra workspace over there. But I just kind of got it rearranged and tucking things. But look at this, see? I got this black. Viking gnome, yes. So I got this black. And I know it seems like a pretty good sized piece. Might be, anyway. But if I end up making bigger gnomes, which someday I would like to, but I like my wee little gnome army, and they just keep disappearing. Then I have plenty to work with. And this, I paid a little more for this than I think I got this half price, so this would be $3.49. So this was $1.75 if I got it half price. So I paid maybe $2 for this. I paid $2.50 for this. So, and you can get some that's curly. You can get it. But I have found two different, and this is the stiff backing. So, I did not. I thought I was done and had everybody cut. But I just realized that I had the black, and I've had this sitting here, and I had this, and I did 3 of these. I'll probably do maybe 3 more. And what I did was I just cut a long strip off, and I'll keep it in my pieces bag over here. And when my little reservoir gets low, I'll go in my pieces bag and fill it up again. But this is new, and it was a bolt. It was like a yard or half yard or whatever. About 1.5 inch, 2 inch pieces. You'll get a lot of wee gnomes out of even just a strip like this. And like I said, someday I want to make some big gnomes. I can't show you right now, but Henry's up there that Joe made. And I love my Henry. And Henry needs some bigger friends. So at some point, I'll do that. But I've been on for almost, I guess, I've been on a little over 2 hours. So you take care, Giovanna. I'm going to get off of here. I didn't plan on being here this long. But now I'm going to take a break. And you guys have the first video, and it's about how I do my gnomes and wandering and how I got here. And hopefully I'll improve. I probably will always be long-winded. I probably will always tell stories or get off on rabbit trails. Um, there is no telling what may happen. Um, that's the way I am. So, I like to say that I'm people's cup of tea or shot of tequila, and sometimes both in the same day, and maybe both several times a day. You know, it's a wide world. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do YouTube was so if I was working like this on gnomes or a quilt or like putting a zipper in my sister's pillowcase or an angel or whatever it be, cleaning up, that I could have company. And I probably talk too much with my hands. Um, it's the way I am. So, and you may get baking, and you may get a clip from a car ride. You may get some of my photography because that's one of my passions. You may get baking or me fixing a car. I may pop on. And that's why I didn't limit it to just sewing or sewing and crafts, because like Debbie from Quilt Fact, love ya. Just like I love Miss Rita for helping me out get to this place. I wander. And you never quite know what adventure God will take me on. And like I said, at some point, I will do this in the right order and like make a short gnome video so you can watch from A to B, and then I'll do a live where you watch me futter around. But anyway, I got my toe wet, and I stayed on longer than I planned on doing. But I've had fun, and hopefully I know I've kept a couple of you company. So you guys have a blessed day. And like I said, you don't know when I'll pop up. And I appreciate everyone who's subscribed and who's waited for me to get to this point. I didn't expect to need to at least get some organization in here, and I didn't expect for my bad hip to go, I hate you, like it has. But one step at a time. I didn't come in with a bunch of videos prepared. I didn't come in with a bunch of equipment. I didn't even have a name yet. I just had a thought for like 2.5 years. And Debbie told me go for it when I was in visitor her in early September, and then Rita was like, well, we're gonna make this happen. And I'm very blessed, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very thankful for that. Because I may still be sitting on the stump thinking about it, lurking behind the scenes. But we're here now. We got our first video up, and it's twice as long as I planned on. So, Nancy came in the house as I was kind of finishing up. This was supposed to be like a test video because I couldn't sleep. But we ended up making a couple gnomes and kind of giving you a little idea about my channel. I got 3 likes. I tell you what, I am so excited because I kind of did this, like I was telling everybody, I kind of did the process a little backwards, and I was getting ready to wrap up because I'm a little tired. But here's the wee girl gnome sample, and here's the wee gentleman that I was just gonna sit here and work on finishing cutting a couple colors of beards, and then make a few noses and maybe make some braids, because I like to have the pieces and then make a whole bunch. But then Toodles wanted to see a sample, so I made him, and I put everyone's unique because you never know what colors you'll get. And these are knit gloves, and a little faux fur, a pom-pom with a stocking over it that I get at the Dollar Tree. I get those little anklet panties that have like pantyhose that have like 3 in it, and then I stretch it over a 12mm pom-pom. And then I put a little magnet in, so if they want to pop the magnet on it and stick it up, they can. And I also add a little piece of cording, so if they want to put the or they want to put the cording on and hang it up like that, then they have the option. But I didn't like that. I had figured out how to make the males, and I thought they'd be lonely. So it took me a good 2.5 weeks to figure out what to use and what was best for the little girl gnomes. And I probably have 25 different colors of the DMC Pearl number 8. So I'll just grab a few, make up probably 10 braids. I have enough beards cut. I just added a couple new colors, and then I make probably about 20 noses, and then I'll sit down and maybe set up 12, and I'll do the little bodies and the little hats, and then I'll pick out a nose, because every nose comes out different no matter how hard you try. And the little, so we got the bodies and the hats, and then half I'll match a beard to it, whatever the mood hits, and the other half I'll match braids to it, and then I'll hot glue them together. And that, it goes really fast, instead of doing a braid and then making the gnome, and cutting a little beard and making the gnome. That just seemed to take far too long for me, and especially because whenever I make a bunch, they disappear. Thank you very much, Nancy. I'm glad you popped in. But I've been on here quite a bit, and I've enjoyed it. I mean, I've had Toodles and Giovanna and Nancy. I wasn't sure. Oh, Rhonda popped up here too. So, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. Yeah, because I don't have anything fancy. I was supposed to get a new iPad to do this, and that hasn't worked out, so I'm using this old one. And I'm trying to use my preacher voice so that people can hear me, because sometimes when I'm tired I get soft-spoken. Keep adjusting this light so you can see things. So I appreciate that. I'm working on it. This looks a little bit like a tornado went through, because we moved all the big pieces of furniture that hold everything. But when I can't sleep and my insomnia hits, this is what I do. I do quiet activities. And this morning I felt like gnomes. I need to work on angels later today. At some point when I have my act together, I'm hoping, Nancy, like I've said, that I'll have, you know, a 20-25 minute tutorial, whatever it takes, so that you can make a gnome. You know, you have the tutorial and you don't have to watch the wanderings of a 2.5 hour video, or skip around to see. But I was just planning on testing out a live and being on for about an hour. You take care too, Nancy. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to take a break and stuff like that. And I will check on y'all later. Thank you very much for joining me. One down, and we'll see what happens. It may disappear eventually, because the first one's always kind of... but anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for popping on. And those that are brave enough to come on and watch this later, or watch parts of it later, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the people that got me here, because it was just a thought for a long time that I kept kicking down the road. No, leave it. Well, it's not going anywhere for a while, because it's the only video on the channel, Nancy. So, But, and I appreciate y'all's patience, because you jumped in when Miss Rita, you know, got excited about getting me enough to do a live, and you, that's one of my dogs, um, and then you hung out. You kept the numbers, and you just hung out and were patient with me. You didn't just go, well, she's not getting it together, and it's been a week or 2 weeks. You understood that I had some hip problems, and I'm a work in progress, and I always will be. So I appreciate that. So I love you guys. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Now I have to figure out how to turn this off. Um, cut. Is that what it is? No. Oh, no. That's my messy spot. Oh, down here. Oh, up here? Yes.